This is Kevin Pruitt on another interview of Rising Tide Startups. I have a special guest with me today, a long time friend, Pam Williams. Pam, how you doing?
I am great, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. I think we've had like a 16-year hiatus or so since we
Yeah,
saw each other.
yeah,
I mean, we touch base
it's
on
been so
LinkedIn
long.
every now and then, but
Right.
just it's so interesting. I mean, I look 16 years older, you look 16 days older. I mean, there's got to be some correlation there. So it's
That's
amazing. It is
that's too
amazing.
funny.
Still have
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell our listeners, who is Pam Williams?
Who is Pam Williams? Well, I've been here 17 years. This will be my 18th year, actually. I came from London, England, and
My
I
adopted
arrived.
hometown.
Yes, I know, right? Which is ironic, very ironic. I went to Park University and I played soccer there. I was there on a soccer scholarship, and I ended up staying. I mean, I just fell in love with the place. Don't think I would have uprooted myself from London, to come all the way over here if I wasn't going to stay, and just fell in love with the magic of the place here, really, and ended up staying and living life, forging a career in social work, and then pivot into the world of business. So,
Wow. So Park
uh,
University's in Kansas City, Missouri?
yeah, yes, well, Parkville, which is
Okay.
like a small little town just on the outskirts, but
Okay.
it's a nice historical town, quaint. And I don't know, it's special. It's very historical. I mean, and I just think that history is a wonderful thing because, I mean, it's character, isn't it?
And we
So,
met when you were arriving, and we were kind of a friendship family for international students. And I saw it. I
yes.
remember when we saw the list, and there was somebody from England. I said, "That's ours. We claim that one.
That's awesome.
We claim that one."
I just think it was such a blessing for me because somebody who was coming so far away from home. And I think at the time I was 21, yeah, when I arrived. And of course, at that age, you think you know everything, don't you? Like, it's funny to look back now. I mean, I'm almost going to be 39, and I can look back and think, man, I didn't know anything back then. So, so it's nice, to have a welcoming family to help you, kind of assimilate into the culture and stuff. And so,
Well, you are
thank
bar none. You are bar none the best female soccer player we've ever met. I mean, you are a
you.
superb soccer player, and you may
Thank
still be for all I know.
I hung up my boots a while ago. The funny thing is like my brain still knows what to do. And, I'll be watching games with my husband. It's so funny because I'm so animated when I'm watching those games still. The passion's still
Shocker.
there. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I watch American football with him, and he's the same way in that realm. And in soccer, I'm this way, and he laughs. He's like, man, you should be coaching or something. I was like, I will. I mean, there's just no time right now. But the brain can still see everything. But the legs, yeah, the legs are like, I don't think so. What
Yeah.
now? That's not cool.
That's a good idea, but no, we're not going to do that.
That's a good idea, but let's not do it. And I'm like, okay.
So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about this pivot from social work to your business. Explain your business and the inspiration for it, the name of it.
Yeah, I just had felt this calling. And I mean, it sounds crazy, but I mean, I listen to my intuition a lot because I'm a very spiritual person, and I feel that it's God talking, but I always felt like I've always wanted to help people. And, I was able to do that in social work for 10 years. And so as a caseworker for CPS, and, I just felt this yearning to still be able to help people, but to use my creativity too, because as you know, I played soccer, and that was a
Hmm.
way for me to express myself and be creative. And so, I made the decision back in 2014, February. My husband and I talked, and I said, I really feel like I want to move forward with this. And at the time then was to start a business with shoes and bags and to distribute the shoes and the bags. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to start business, and I want to help people. And, so I started that journey by, obtaining bags and selling the bags. But when I bought the bags and they arrived, I looked at them and I just said, I don't want to put my name to it. There's no way that I could put my name to it because I just didn't like the quality in what I saw. And I
Right.
then had the thought, I said, you know what? I think I could do a better job myself. And I mean, this process took about from the February 2014 until it wasn't about that December when I made that push to, I started thinking I could do a better job myself. And I went online and I learned how to make bags, really. That's what I did.
I'm sorry. I mean, was this like a white label? Like, were you ordering bags and then putting your brand on it, or were you just selling bags that were like designer bags under a company label?
I was ordering bags. I was ordering bags from a company in California, and like I say, they were then getting those bags from overseas and shoes. Mm-hmm. And I just, like I say, when they came, I didn't like the quality. So yeah, I decided, I was going to start with shoes. Sorry. And but then meeting somebody along the way, he was like, well, shoes are harder to make. Maybe you should, focus on bags first. So I adopted that idea. And so I was tinkering with both. And so that's why, the name of the company is Freedom Shoe.
Right.
I was looking at shoes. And so I did learn to make shoes and I did learn to make bags. But, my bags became such a hit as I was making them that I, ended up pivoting in that direction and just going in that direction. It's funny how life is. You start with one way on the journey and then you're shown signs to pivot another way.
Sure. So tell me, like, percentage wise, I mean, are you still making shoes, or is this almost strictly bags at this point?
At this point, it's strictly bags, but shoes are still there. Like that idea that I envisioned, it's never going to go away.
Right.
But my idea is to start small and grow. That's the thing that I've always had in my mind, because I think if you start too big, it will be a problem. How would you be able to juggle everything? That's just with me learning along the way and just thinking along those terms, in the realm of common sense. I think
you're doing it by yourself. You're doing virtually a kind of a solo shop right now. So
yeah.
So where did the name Freedom Shoe come from?
I feel like we all want to be free, free to be who we are, free to express ourselves. And I just taking that idea, that's what gave me the inspiration to name my company Freedom Shoe.
Okay.
Because I just feel like we're striving to express ourselves the way that we want to be and the people that we are individually, and everyone wants to be free. It's my feeling. And that's when a lot of problems arise, when you don't have that freedom and you're constricted and, and controlled and so on and so forth. I think that's when problems arrive. And so that's how I came to naming my company Freedom Shoe. Just that belief.
This is I'm going a little off script here, so if I throw you a curve, we can always hit pause and you can reset. But
no worries.
Tell me a little bit about the inspiration or the idea. What's kind of your mantra behind Freedom Shoes? What makes it unique? What's kind of your unique selling point about Freedom Shoes and the bags you're making? Well,
right now, in the world, throughout the world, to me, there's a big problem in the idea of perfection. Perfection does not exist, on this realm anyway. We're all striving to get to the realm where it does exist. And I feel that people hide behind this notion of perfection. And what I'm trying to show is that there is beauty in imperfection. I think that's what makes my bag so unique. Each bag is different onto their own, like legitimately different onto their own. I use real leather hide, and oftentimes there's scars and there's nicks and there's imperfections, and I incorporate all of that into my design work because I am trying to show that there is beauty in imperfection. And I feel that my bags really tangibly show that. And so, there's so many women out there who have this belief that they're not good enough, that they can't express themselves the way that they want to express themselves. And I feel that my bags help with that issue. Like, each bag is different onto their own. And I see that all the time. There's this bags that I make that I know for me, I was like, I'd never wear this myself. I'd never carry this. But then someone else will see it and it's like, this is me.
Wow.
Like, this is me to a T. So, I mean, I know then, what I'm doing is powerful. And it's been really well received. So.
And they can, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as you were talking, I was thinking, if you could see yourself or your image in the bag,
Yes.
then there's a real identification, a real personal identification with between the buyer and the product. And I mean, that's a
Absolutely.
powerful message. That's an incredible. I'm glad I pivoted. So, you were
Yeah.
obviously prepared for that pivot. So what a great
Yeah.
answer. What a great
Thank
listeners. I
you.
want you to really, really listen to what she just said. If you have to hit pause and go rewind and listen to that again, that is sage advice. And that is so sound and such a good word for today, for especially young girls that might struggle with this whole thing of trying to
Yeah.
live up to an unrealistic standard.
Mm-hmm.
So, well,
Absolutely.
let me pivot again to let's say what do you think is since you started your business, what was your low point? What was the lowest point that you've ever experienced that our listeners could maybe identify with?
The lowest point that I could think of is, okay, so I had this great idea and I started and I pivoted. And just the way that I felt and feel about it, I'm like, this is a winner, this is a hit. But at some point, people weren't buying. They were not buying. And I couldn't understand why. I couldn't. And I would talk to my husband about it. And because it is, when you create something, to me, it's like, I'm a mum. I've given birth, I've brought life into this world. And it is literally like when you create something, it's like that almost. It's a part of you, and it has to be. It's a part of your essence because you've created it, and it feels like a personal stab, even though it really isn't. I knew that there's something, the side day is great, but there's something I'm doing that is not connecting with people. And along the way, I was able to figure out I just wasn't connecting the right message to people so that they understand exactly what I'm doing. I think that's really important.
So that was phase couldn't have lasted very long.
No.
So
no, it took me a while to figure out.
Sure.
I would say a few months or so, or whatever. But once I did understand that, and that I need to put myself out there, because that's another thing. This looks comfortable for me, but this is not comfortable for me. Like I don't like attention. I don't like all eyes on you feeling, but I know it's a part of the journey, and this is what this journey has helped me do. Learn to kind of like maybe not be comfortable in it, but understand my role. This is, I'm in this role, and this is something that I have to do.
Yeah.
And so,
but you would still take the last penalty kick at the World Cup, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah, because that's just my character. I would do it.
I love it.
If anyone needed me, I would do it for sure. Yeah.
I love it. So give me a real quick takeaway out of your low point. What was the one epiphany that happened that you said, "Wow, that's what I need to do to get out of this"?
I need to put myself out there. You need to put yourself out there. You need to put yourself out there by going to shows. You need to put yourself out there on social media. You need to expose yourself, because that's the thing that was difficult for me. It's like figuring out I was trying to do it by not exposing myself, and it's never going to work if you don't. You have to. Mm-hmm. You have to find comfort in that somehow, because that's the only way people are going to, buy into, so to speak, your message, and what you're doing is by helping to connect with them and helping them see what you're doing is a good thing. This is
it. Really, we've done. I haven't done a ton of these interviews at this stage, but I find myself wanting to pick up the pen a whole lot as you're talking, and make notes. So we've had some great guests and with great information, but you really are just a fountain of one line quips today that really has just amazed me at this stage. And because I think that in a very pretty short period of time, since 2014 to now, you've gone through so many things and so many transitions and so many ups and downs, and learned so much in a short period of time. And really, I guess, you took a learning posture into this.
Absolutely.
And just tried to say, hey, this is not working. What can I learn from this? So, I'd never want to end on a low. So tell me, what's your highest point since you've started Freedom Shoe?
My highest point was actually, this time last year, by this time last year, I had been on Better KC in Kansas City, and I'd
That's
been
a
on
TV
Fox
show,
4
local
News.
TV show?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a local
Yep.
TV show here. Basically talking about what's happening in Kansas City now and local designers. They feature designers, they feature stores, they feature, the goings on in the community. And I was just felt so blessed for them to have me on that show, and the reporter, Christina, she really adopted my message. She really took to it. And it was really inspiring in that, because even she was talking about moments in her life that she thinks back to when, she was bullied, or she felt or was made to feel like she's not worthy, and she just really valued the message. And that's when I knew, I was like, for sure, I was like, this is a great thing. This is a message that will help the world, and that's ultimately what I want to do. And so Better KC, and then Fox 4 as well, they love the message. And the fact that I donate a portion of my sales to an anti-bullying charity as well, Stand for the Silence. So, I think it just all encompasses what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, that's been the great thing, and being received well by people. And, my customers, they love what I do, and I'm thankful for that.
Well, I can see a year ago you had local reach, and then 1 year later, through Rising Tide Startups, you've got global reach. So, it's that's exactly, and that's how I know. I feel like I'm on the right path. I'm on the right trajectory of what I'm trying to do and what I'm saying. I was being a little facetious, but yeah.
but you know what? It's on the internet, so
it is.
You can't really say that, because you know what? Yeah. All it takes is for the right person to see whatever is out there, and then boom.
Well, I'm afraid when they see this interview, it may go boom. So, I'm hoping. So you've had, I sent you kind of the questions beforehand, just so you would kind of have an idea of what we may talk about. But
yes.
So what would you say would be one or two, let's go with two, major pain points or obstacles, and try to be really concise here so our listeners can actually speak into it and give you feedback. But if you had to list two things that you really struggle with as a solo startup, solo shop, what would those two things be that our listeners could speak into and maybe offer some good advice? We have a pretty diverse group that listens to this podcast, and there's some real wisdom in that group, and it's kind of the idea behind the rising tide lifting all boats, So what would you say would be your two obstacles?
Well, the major one that springs to mind for me is marketing, because that encompasses, like I say, putting yourself out there, and being in a state where you could be fully disarmed, I guess, trying to connect and trying to spread your message and the work of what you're doing. That's been one of the major obstacles for me. But I found StoryBrand, and that's helped, exponentially. Like, that to me was the missing link for me, and how to be able to really connect with my audience was the marketing piece. That's been the hardest.
That's the program that Donald Miller does?
Yep, Donald Miller. And
so tell me, what are some things, let's drill down just a little bit more about this. So marketing is a pretty broad category. So be a little more specific on, okay, I've tried social media, I've tried this. Refine that a little bit for our audience when you say marketing.
So just to touch on there, what you just said with social media, I think it's so difficult to connect with people on that platform. I don't know why, but I do seem to have some really good followers, and the irony is, what I see, they really comment a lot when I talk about what I'm doing in my life in conjunction with the business. So it's hard then for me to gauge, okay, but I don't really necessarily want to talk about me. Like, sure. I want to share with you what I'm doing with my bags and stuff. But I guess there's something about, my life and my husband and our son, and that they really like. So it's like, I don't know. That could be, social media for me is a hard thing. I will say, be honestly, like connecting on the Instagram and Facebook and stuff. It's like, what content exactly to put out there, as opposed to just here's a bag, here is a creation kind of thing. So I've tried to maybe just do like inspiring quotes that come to my mind that I put out there and see, and I do seem to get feedback with that.
So you mentioned specifically Facebook and Instagram. What about Pinterest? This seems like a perfect Pinterest play to me. And I know so little about Pinterest, but
I've investigated Pinterest a bit, and I am on Pinterest, but I haven't seen much interaction for me. Some people may be more successful with it, and maybe I'm using it wrong. I don't know. I've created some boards, and I have like a creative board up there that I upload and put a lot of my work on there. But, it's the thing is, it's trying to be discovered and seen in a sea of people doing the same thing you are.
No doubt.
That's the difficulty.
The timing may be interesting though, because I just interviewed a young lady that is a kind of a Pinterest expert. So her interview will go live maybe right before yours does. So,
that's awesome.
I hope she listens. So maybe she can offer feedback into this as well. Matter of fact, I'm going to send her specifically this podcast to listen to, so she can make sure and offer feedback into this. And we may end up, connect you guys together and just see how that can, how that can grow. So, but that's awesome. That's really interesting. So the marketing side, specifically maybe social media. What's the second one? What's the second pain point?
I'm trying to, I really don't feel that there's been any others for me.
So we may just want to park on this number one and just maybe dedicate all our time to just how to improve the marketing and reach and audience building and tribe and the whole thing. So
I really feel that's, and I guess, finding shows where my audience will be at. That's been a little bit of a struggle, a bit of hit and miss. In life, you have to put yourself out there and you have to try certain things. Obviously, there's some shows where I know that maybe my audience isn't going to be here, but there's been, especially when I did start showing my bags at, shows and becoming a vendor, it was very much a learning curve, and I had to just go with the flow in that aspect. And it did end, the ending of last year, I did a show that was amazing. The DOS event in Kansas City, that was exactly everything that I wanted it to be and more. So,
and you're really connected. Your followers tended to go to that event as well. So
yeah.
Well, Pam, let me once again pivot and say, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive as we're kind of heading to the final like third of the interview here. And so tell me, who's one person that you follow really closely online that has really been an inspiration to you?
This is where you're going to think I'm a bore, or you may not, but some people might too, because I've always been the sort of person that, firstly, I'm spiritual and I'm really intuitive. And a lot of times I feel that gut feeling or a sense of like a loud thought that will come into my mind. And to me, I have a great connection with God and I feel that that's him, And so, but oftentimes if stuff is missed through other people, you'll get signs of where you should go and what you should do. And I will say that times where it's been difficult, I really have connected with Oprah. Like, it sounds crazy, but honestly, like, I really feel like there's a lot of lessons that she's put out there and things that she's talked about that has been able to help me. Sure. So there isn't one person that I specifically follow, because I really feel that we're all individual. I mean, I tend to follow myself, but I do look definitely outside the box, because my mind's always in, I want to learn. I'm here to learn, because learning ultimately gets me better and gets me where I need to go. Yeah. So, I mean, I will look at, Simon Sinek, people like that, and just inspiring quotes from different people to, kind of help me along my way.
Well, I'll list them in that order. I'll list God first, Oprah, and then Simon Sinek. Okay.
Here we go.
So tell me,
My husband's a good one too.
all right, do I have to move him up on the order if he listens to the podcast? There you go.
Nah, he's all right. He can stay there. Maybe above Oprah. There, you can put him next. I'm
So
joking.
kind of following on to number one, is there a special life quote that you really like to live by? Something you may have printed off and you got taped up above your computer there on the wall. I mean, we all have little places that we like to keep these things. So what's one life
I
quote
have
that you
a
can really live
few.
by?
There's a
Okay,
few
give
of
me a
them I
couple.
actually have. I have things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That to me that's a definite. You might not know or understand at the time why it's happening, but for me, it's tend to avail itself. Things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's a staple. I try to live by only love today. That flashes up on my phone every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, to remind me that, you know what, whatever's coming your way, remember, like, only love today. And see the flowers and not the weeds. Just smile, just breathe. That comes up, at noon or 3 to help me throughout my day. Yeah, I'm like that.
Just smile,
I
just
have
breathe.
yeah.
And
See
the
the
other, don't
flowers.
count the flowers, don't count the weeds, count the flowers. What is it?
See the flowers.
I'm trying to write fast here.
I know, right? See the flowers and not the weeds.
Great.
See the flowers and not the weeds. Yeah.
Well, you would really be a great mentor to your, pre-entrepreneurial self. So if you could go back to your entrepreneurial beginnings and if you had a piece of advice that you would give to yourself, what do you think it would be? Say 2014.
It would be don't be afraid to pivot, and don't stem that energy when it happens, because that's what I've discovered on this journey, that you start off, and even the name Freedom Shoe gives testimony to that. I will eventually go back to shoes, but
Yep.
excuse me, I pivoted to bags, and that's the way I was led, and naturally that's the way that I went. At first I did try to fight that, because I had it in my head that no, like this, but it's okay. Things happen in life that way, and you are going to be put on your path, and to get to the destination of where you need to go and to be valuable where you get there, you are going to pivot, and it's okay. And I'm feeling that I'm in that space again.
Right.
And that's why I'm able to say this, because being this far into it, I guess, a bit, I've learned that. And so naturally I'm a writer. And so that's the next creative spin that I'm pivoting towards, not that I'm leaving my bags behind at all. Not at all. But I feel like for my bags to get to the level that they're going to get to, I have to pivot in this direction.
And you're writing your memoir, you're writing your story.
That's it. I'm writing my
right.
memoir.
Okay.
I'm writing my memoir right now. So I'm excited, very, very excited about that. I'm almost finished, actually. I took a break because I just kind of needed a little space to be able to be truly authentic with the chapter I'm in now. And so I actually made this bag for one of my customers. I've been getting some custom orders, and I still have been, least making my custom orders. And so, I was able to pivot and do that, and back to my writing. So
Do you have a bag
yeah.
right there that you want to show us on YouTube?
Yeah. Sure. I'm going to go deliver this baby later on. And
Wow.
this is a custom bag. But I mean, what I love about it is, the freedom I was able to have to create it. And she wanted specific things. And she just said to me that, I want a space for my phone. And so she could put her phone here, and then inside she wanted loud colors and such in there. And so
Wow.
I put that pockets, and it's the first time I don't know why and how I saw it that way at the time, but yeah, I never put 2 pockets like that in there, and then there's a zipper pocket back there. I always do that, but
Yeah.
just getting to know her personality, I figured that this would suffice. And then, yeah, this was like scarring that was already there incorporated in the hide. And so I just, put another lever there and incorporated into the piece. And so, yeah, it's come out like a piece of artwork, wearable artwork, which I'm pleased with.
Well, you don't have to share this, but if our listeners want to look online, give me a ballpark of what that bag may cost.
Something like that. My custom orders start about $150, about there. And so obviously I design it and goes into it, and there's a lot that I kind of like channel with energy. Like I speak to the person, and then I kind of go with my gut and my feeling from there, and then it goes from there. But I mean, the cool part about it is, it's something unique to your personality, and nobody else is going to have it.
So do you do a mock-up, or like you just show them what this is going to be, or you just like talk to them and then you just go do it?
That's literally what I do. And those are my best customers. The best work that I've done, that's what they've allowed me to do. Yeah. They've just said, this is what I'm looking for. Your work's really beautiful. Create something for me.
Wow.
And then that's it.
That's trust. That's trust in an artist.
Yeah, I know, right?
Trust in an artist.
Great. It's real fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, and I love that because it's freedom.
Yep.
Because I have worked on pieces, well, maybe here, that is, you said, like a stumbling block. When people have been specific in certain things, and it's like, look, I have to go with the flow and how I'm feeling in the moment and the energy, because you could tell me one thing, but if I see it differently in that moment, you have to allow me to do that.
Sure.
Might not turn out the way, you want otherwise.
Right.
And that's the beauty of what I'm doing. It's not manufactured. It's not cookie cutter. It's individual to who we all are. So.
Well, that's great. Yeah. That's great, Pam.
Thank you.
It's amazing to see, just the way that it's not just a job. It really is. You put yourself into each piece. I mean, you really are truly an artist.
Thank you.
In what you're creating. So.
Thank you.
Well, now that we've whet their appetite about Freedom Shoe, and everybody that's watched this now wants a bag for you to make. So how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of Pam Williams?
Best way, I have a website, freedomshoe.com.
Okay. That's amazing that was available.
I know, right? It was meant to be. Things happen for a reason, right?
That's right.
So, freedomshoe.com, and you can contact me on there. You can just punch in contact, and you can email me from there, contact@freedomshoe.com as well. That's a great way to get hold of me and stuff. So
what about other, Facebook, Twitter?
I'm on Facebook as well. If you punch in Freedom Shoe, it should come up. Or if you want to just go into the website, you could put Pamela 7 Williams in the HTTP part, and Freedom Shoe will come up. Okay. And then I'm on Instagram as well, The Freedom Shoe.
Okay.
On there. So
and we'll have all those linked in the show notes for the podcast as well. So.
Okay, cool.
Well, Pam, it has been a pleasure to reconnect and just to spend some time with you this morning and just really hear your story and just really be inspired. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and you inspired me today with just your story. And our family is blessed to have you as a friend, and you've done some amazing things. So, but thanks again for joining us today. And listeners, it is your time now. Pam has mentioned some pain points, some obstacles here, and we've heard a great story, great backstory. And so go onto our website and on the feedback form, offer her some feedback, because all boats rise in a rising tide. Pam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. Thank you so much.